Tang Wulin found it absolutely magnificent and thought that looking up at the sky there at night must be wonderful. Li mentioned that they could enjoy the starry sky later if they liked. He explained that the observatory, day or night, could shrink the gap between them and space and offer a perfect view of the starry sky. The observatory's enormous Soul Tool formation collected Stella's energy to fall into the platform and offered the freshest energy to assist students in cultivating. This Stella energy could be utilized to improve the bodies and battle armor of the students. Tang Wulin hadn't anticipated the Sky Order Star Ocean Academy to have such a unique structure, and realized that today's match appeared to be difficult. He noted that the observatory contained a lot of potential energy. He reflected on how humans had never stopped developing the Soul Tool formation for thousands of years, and considered the Soul Tool formation in front of him to be the most intricate and massive he had ever seen. The other team then arrived. Everyone introduced themselves to each other. On their team were Xiao Tiantian, an attack-type Soul Master who was also the leader, Ye Jishu, a speed attack-type Soul Master, Gu Tianming, a speed attack-type Soul Master, Zhang Xining, a control attack-type Soul Master, Li Yao Yao, a power attack-type Soul Master, and Han Yu Chang, a control attack-type Soul Master. Half of their team were control-type Soul Masters. Li reminded everyone that it was a friendly match, so they had to stop before things went too far. The observatory was then turned on, and as soon as that happened, a golden mist surrounded Xiaoyan. She felt wonderful. Li noted that the golden light mist over her body was about to materialize. The match then began. Tang Wulin attacked using his blue-silver grass. Tang Wulin wondered what Xiao Tiantian's martial soul was and why he hadn't been aware of it. Zhang Xining had little wings and was hiding behind Gu Tianming. Gu Tianming's martial soul was the sky-soaring hawk. Li Yao's martial soul was also unusual. A powerful flame was emanating from her body, her skin darkened, and her arms sank into the rocks. Han Yuacheng's martial soul was the butterfly. The academy was as expected. Tang Wulin told his team they needed to intercept the other team before they flew to an unattainable height. Tang Wulin flung 3 members up at once, and they flew in 3 directions. He was clearly powerful and in control. While that was happening, Gu Tianming attacked Li Ji. He took his feathers into his hands and attacked him with his own feathers. While Gu Tianming was distracted, Li Ji went for Zhang Xining, who was his real target. Li noted that Zhang Xining was a control-type Soul Master. Still, his control skill was sound. This was too much for his melee abilities. He had to save him. Zhang Xining was eliminated. The match had just begun, and one of the opposite team members was eliminated. Li Ji fell from the sky, but Tang Wulin managed to catch him. They both saw Ji chasing Han Yucheng. He was in a strange situation. Tang Wulin noted that Han Yucheng had simply flown there, but Ji couldn't strike her. He thought she was using the mind control type soul. Li Yao Yao threw a meteorite at Ji. Tang Wulin saved him by using his blue-silver grass to pull him back out of harm's way. He used his golden dragon claw and destroyed the meteorite. He also managed to entangle Li Yao Yao. She was a little frustrated because Tang Wulin had managed to block her full-power attack with just one hand. Li was amazed because Li Yao Yao's full-power attack had an impact force of over 3 tons. But Tang Wulin had easily caught and injured Li Yao Yao, and he had also eliminated 2 people in the blink of an eye. On the other side of the arena, Xinglan attacked Xiao Tiantian. He caught her in a black smoke cloud. They both disappeared under the black smoke cloud, but when it was gone, only Xiao Tiantian came out. His appearance had changed. He now had red horns and eyes. He attacked Tang Wulin. Tang Wulin managed to evade it. Li noted that Tang Wulin's skin was covered with golden scales. On the other side of the arena, Ji used his lightning-fast assault speed to attack Gu Tianming. Han Yucheng noted this and was about to help him, but before she could, Ji appeared behind her and held his blade to her neck. He threatened to scar her neck or face if she didn't descend slowly, so she complied and was eliminated. Ye Jishu was now frustrated. She attacked Gu Yue and Xiaoyan with the 7-star bamboo attack. Gu Yue noted that there were 7 golden leaves among the many bamboo leaves, and each of them could identify their target on their own, so she had to keep the bamboo leaves at a distance. She created a tornado to do so. Xiao Tiantian appeared. A golden light surrounded Xiaoyan. She used her starlight burst. Under the starlight burst's illumination, the bamboo leaves vanished in an instant. The flying ones, as well as the bamboo leaves, were suppressed and fell. People on the ground were unable to move. Tang Wulin noted that Xiaoyan's breath was changing, and so was her body. He thought it was martial soul evolution. While this was happening, Xinglan appeared, and she was shining as well. Tang Wulin, for the first time, saw Xinglan meditating and absorbing the Stella energy. Li asked Tang Wulin if his classmate's martial soul was related to Stella energy. Tang Wulin confirmed that it was. Li remarked that he had never seen a soul master connected to Stella energy before, and found it truly magnificent. Tang Wulin then requested that Li refrain from turning off the observatory because Xiaoyan was absorbing the stellar energy. Li agreed, acknowledging that although Xiaoyan was not their student, it was an extraordinary event. He stated that they would record and keep this information, which would be extremely useful in the application of stellar energy. He assured Tang Wulin that the stellar energy was unlimited and that Xiaoyan could continue to absorb it. Li then instructed his students to pay close attention to fluctuations in the stellar energy to see if they could comprehend anything. Tang Wulin noted that it took Xiaoyan an hour to absorb the stellar energy. Her ice staff had totally become golden. She appeared to be under the effect of stars, and her entire being became translucent and weird. Tang Wulin asked Xiaoyan how she felt. She told him that she felt fantastic. Tang Wulin knew that she didn't want to speak there, so he decided to ask her again when they got out. Tang Wulin apologized to Li for bothering them and told him that they were leaving because Xiaoyan was fine. Li agreed, but because of that day's unique situation, he asked if Tang Wulin would be willing to leave his contact information and speak with him in the future. They then left. Outside, Tang Wulin told them that their method was a good way to meet other academies for a friendly match, but in the next city, they should be more subtle. Gu Yue wondered if their good fortune would last. Tang Wulin explained that their academy's graduates might be found all over the world. Li had given him a list before saying farewell, which included the academies and contact information for Shrek Academy seniors who were teaching in various cities. They could just phone ahead to organize a friendly match in this way. Xiaoyan, smiling, remarked that they should have done this sooner. Tang Wulin asked Xiaoyan if her martial soul had evolved and how she was feeling. Xiaoyan confirmed that it had. She was surprised to encounter such a large amount of stellar energy, which melded with her martial spirit swiftly, causing her martial soul to awaken. Her original martial soul had been immature, differing between day and night. This flaw would have had a greater effect on her in the future. However, after absorbing the stellar energy, she was able to bridge these flaws, cleanse the impurities in her martial soul, and allow it to become purer. Tang Wulin then questioned why she had absorbed so much stellar energy, but her soul power had not improved much. Xiaoyan replied that her martial soul had been rebuilt, yet something had been lost. Her Star Wheel Ice Staff should now be renamed Star Staff, as the stellar energy had cleansed away her ice attributes, leaving only the pure star attribute. Tang Wulin asked how it could be, and if her initial ice attribute soul skills were gone. Gu Yue wondered if Xiaoyan's soul skills changed as her Star Staff changed. Xiaoyan confirmed, explaining that otherwise it would have done more harm than good. She mentioned that her 3 soul skills had evolved significantly, and that she would show them in the next match. She stated that, like Tang Wulin, she was a control attack type soul master. Tang Wulin then asked Xinglan about her situation. Xinglan explained that her martial soul and stellar energy had been in close proximity, but were steady in their own right, so only her soul power increased by absorbing the stellar energy. She happily announced that she had reached rank 40. Li Ji congratulated her. Tang Wulin noted that she was the first among them to achieve rank 40. He added that as long as she fused a new soul spirit and had the 4th soul ring, she would officially enter the soul ancestor realm. He told everyone not to rush because they needed to buy communicators so that they could contact the seniors on the list. They smoothly accomplished the 9th mission in a few days. With just one more mission, they would be able to pass this final exam and return to the academy. In the car, Xiaoyan noted that none of their seniors taught at the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy, questioning why, considering it was among the best academies on the continent. Tang Wulin explained that the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy had been previously destroyed and that the disaster was directly connected to their academy, which had led to ongoing hostility. It was also the only academy that didn't recruit Shrek alumni as professors, so naturally their seniors wouldn't want to work there. ZC expressed determination to still choose that place, citing that its elites were extremely challenging and that the academy had produced many of the Federation's top leaders. He then asked if they would prefer to choose another place. Tang Wulin reminded them of the primary goal of this exam. The academy had taken all of their belongings, leaving them empty-handed, as this final exam was an opportunity for them to gain experience. They not only needed to complete the exam, but also understand the experiences of this trip, encouraging them to believe in themselves. Wu told them that they would receive the bonus points if they won. Everyone was surprised to hear his voice. He was hovering over the car. Tang Wulin asked Wu if he had heard all they had just discussed. Wu responded that they weren't permitted to fail if they picked the Sun Moon Academy because they were standing up for Shrek's honor. He would accompany them as a lead teacher. Tang Wulin then asked how many bonus points they could get. Wu said the maximum points were 6 for each of them, plus 10 bonus points, meaning each of them could give the others a bonus of 50 points. Tang Wulin agreed. Wu warned that if they lost, all of their earlier efforts would have been for nothing. and they would all fail. Tang Wulin was shocked to hear that. Wu continued, explaining that the grudges between the two academies were far more serious than they might have imagined. If they lost, he would take the blame and resign from Shrek Academy as well. Tang Wulin was now feeling a lot of strain and began to have regrets about choosing the Sun Moon Academy. The pressure was extremely high. They then arrived at Bright Capital City. There were objects flying in the sky. Xiaoyan asked if they were high-altitude flying cars. Zizi told her that it could be. The high-altitude flying car was still in the testing phase, and Bright Capital City was the Federal's most important research and technology hub. The test appeared to be a huge success. Zizi saw that some mechas were doing identification checks. Tang Wulin explained that the Academy had requested they make Bright Capital City their final stop, likely for this reason, as challenges were everywhere. He noted it was no surprise they wanted to take their ID cards and instructed ZC to pull over as far as possible. ZC then asked if Teacher Wu could kindly aid them in showing their identification. What he failed to notice was that Wu was already gone. When Tang Wulin reminded him, he decided to pull over. Tang Wulin requested Gu Yue to shoot off fireballs to draw the attention of the people around. Then they dropped their car and fled into the woods on the side of the road to avoid detection. They managed to get to the station. There they found Wu. Tang Wulin asked if they could go straight to the Sun Moon Academy and told him to take them with him. Wu called him stingy because he had lost 2 cars, and he still wasn't upset. He tried to not show it, but in his heart he was upset. Because Bright Capital City was so large and crowded, Wu had Tang Wulin's team change buses 3 times. The children felt they were in a steel jungle with no way out. Xiao Yan disliked the city because, according to her, it was too hasty and depressing. They finally arrived at the Sun Moon Imperial Academy. Wu took a microphone and announced to the Sun Moon Imperial Seoul Engineering Academy students that 6 of them were Shrek Academy students averaging 14 years old, and they would like to challenge their strongest team of under 20-year-olds. He added that this time, they had come to highlight the difference between them and the continent's strongest academy. The team was nervous. Tang Wulin questioned Wu's cruelty. Wu told him that getting the highest score wasn't supposed to be easy. Tang Wulin took the microphone and reiterated the challenge to the Sun Moon Imperial Seoul Engineering Academy students. Shi commented that Wu had vanished again, questioning their mutual trust, and sarcastically suggesting that Wu deserved the label Trap King. They were then surrounded by students. A teacher of the Sun Moon Imperial Seoul Engineering Academy came and asked if they really did challenge them. He told them to follow him. They were taken to the conference room. The teacher said they would pick their opponents and set up the arena in a matter of seconds, assuring them they would not abuse their age, and asked them to report it. Tang Wulin responded that, on average, they were 14 years old. The teacher acknowledged this and said they would send students up to the age of 15, which was around their age. The teacher also mentioned 2 things ahead of time. First, the entire academy would be watching the match, and second, the match would be live-streamed on all large screens in Bright Capital City. Tang Wulin remarked that it was simply a private match, so there was no need to make such a big deal. The teacher insisted that it was necessary, explaining that if they won, it would inspire the entire academy's students, and if they lost, they could damage Shrek's reputation significantly. Tang Wulin thought about how strong the hate must be to be so ruthless. He realized why Wu would put them through such a challenge. The conflict between the 2 academies appeared to be far more serious than he had imagined. He understood there was no going back anymore, and that this was a match they couldn't afford to lose. Tang Wulin then told his team to prepare their mood and get ready for the match. However, Tang Wulin was unaware that the match's news had gone across Bright Capital City and even the whole Federal. Somewhere in the city, Wu was standing when he was approached by Shun Yi. She asked what had happened, and Wu explained the situation. Shun Yi remarked that it was a big deal and questioned why he hadn't announced it in advance, pointing out that the academy would be passive. She noted that Sun Moon Imperial Academy had tremendous media power and that the information had reached not just Bright Capital City and its surrounding cities, but also the whole Federation. She emphasized that if they lost the match, it would be a huge hit to the academy's prestige and asked if he had given it any thought. Wu replied that he made the decision because he understood his students. He believed that the more pressure they faced, the better they would achieve. He said that if they lost, he would apologize and resign, but if they won, he believed they would be qualified to become this generation's Shrek's 7 Devils. He was convinced that they would do all they could to protect the academy's reputation and expressed his faith in his students. Shun Yi then said she would first inquire about the academy's attitude and respond later. Wu told her to go ahead, mentioning that Elder Kai said it didn't matter if they won or lost, but they must return safely as they represented the future's hope. Shun Yi commented that Elder Kai wanted to see Tang Wulin's team lose the match, suggesting that sometimes losing isn't such a horrible thing. Wu agreed, noting that failure is the mother of success, but emphasized that only by consistently earning triumphs and building momentum could they genuinely reach the summit of success. He expressed his confidence that they would win,